founders who have built and scaled companies in different ways, or leaders who've done that. All of them are in different fields. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves, but essentially what we have is we have a founder from the electric mobility space, someone from the brick and mortar and deep tech space, we have an AI leader, and we have someone from the consumer space. So really, really interesting, the differences between these, but also the commonalities to scaling. What I'd like each of you to do, though, is to kind of apply yourself to what's being said here and take away some of this actively. Don't just sit back and think of this as entertainment. Let's start with Sudhakar. Sudhakar, if you could tell us a little about your journey and being a founder in the first place, what it took you to get to where you are today, and then a little about the company.
Yeah. Thanks, Srini. So I started my journey back in 2008. That was my first entrepreneurial journey. Yeah. So I started my first journey back in 2008.
Good morning, everybody, and I welcome you to the HES event, which is hosted by TiE Summit. And I request all of you to go to the Hall 1 and Hall 2, such that you couldn't miss out on the panel discussions and the pitch meetings happening there. Thank you.
I will find her for you,
Sure,
don't worry.
I think that's running on auto timer, I guess. So, yeah, so I started that, and then initially we want to sell bus tickets online. Back in those days, a lot of the bus operators were offline, and no booking systems were there. But fortunately, we had one, Red Bus, but I didn't figure that out. So my research was poor, but still I went ahead and started Abhibus. Wanted to sell bus tickets online, but these guys doesn't have any software and systems in place. Then I changed my business model, started building SaaS platforms for the private operators across the country, small, medium, and large operators. In the process, I managed to host these large state road transport corporation, their technical solution, the booking systems as well. So 2008 to 2014, I focused on building on the GDS platform for these people. By 14, I had about 45% of GDS market share across the country. And then I decided to take up my initial idea of building B2C and then integrate with the rest of the operators. And from 2014 to 2021, by 21, Abhibus had about close to 50 million app downloads, highly star rated in the travel category. And so we were selling about 100,000 seats per day, close to 2,000 crore of GMV top line. And we were EBITDA positive. At that time, I merged the company with Ixigo. Ixigo is the largest, second largest travel platform in India. They're big in train ticketing and flights, and the bus was a missing piece. We've put these three things together and merged entity and went IPO last year. And it's doing phenomenally well. It's about a 1.5 bill right now. So with that industry know-how, I've sold about close to 50 crore tickets, half of India's population, directly or indirectly, till date. So, so with that understanding, deep understanding of what customer needs are, and then we thought that India has a very, very unorganized players, and India doesn't have a large the operator, a bus operator who's standardized, who's there in Delhi, who's there in Kerala, who's there in West Bengal. And that's when I decided I think I want to solve that problem. So then I started FreshBus. I started that in 2019, but supposed to launch in 2020, COVID hit, and then I pushed back my plans. And 2023, I started FreshBus with 100% electric EV mobility. So why I chose EV, I'll talk about in the further. So that's the brief about my journey so far.
I apologize for these announcements that keep coming out and distracting us. Anyway, thank you for that. Let's move over to Krishna. Krishna, tell us a little bit about you, your journey, and the stuff that you've been up to.
Yeah. Thank you very much, and good morning to everyone. So
I'm going to talk about a couple of things today. So we have I'm part of my family business, GVK Group, as well as I have a personal journey in investing in deep technology companies. So GVK Group, we're into infrastructure, also hospitality, we're into also real estate, and into actually biosciences as well. Personally, now I'm looking at the hospitality sector where we have around 1,200 rooms around basically 7 hotels. And we have plans of increasing that to around 4,000 rooms, around 14, 15 actually properties within the next 4 years. I'm also actively executed hydro and coal for our infrastructure space, almost 1,500 actual megawatts. And I oversee GVK EMRI, which is our PPP philanthropic arm with Government of India. We started that when we first actually took that over in 2008. We had around 150 ambulances that we provide to the government for first respondent care. Now we have around 20,000 ambulances, which is again a basically charitable basically setup, which is the largest PPP in the world for first respondent care. Also, apart from that, in terms of actually technology, I have a very actually personal journey actually towards it. My late father had actually passed away from actually brain cancer in 2012. And upon his actually passing away, I always wanted to see whether I can basically contribute to actually medical technology in any sort of actually meaningful way. And I was very actually fortunate around 6 years ago to meet my actually co-founder who was there. I mean, who is there in actually California at the moment, and we basically started we started a basic path together, where I came on board as an investee actually founder, where we have built the world's first actually portable MRI for the brain. It is, thank you. It is actually FDA cleared. It's the only single-sided device which is FDA cleared, which means that it can scan for brain cancer, for all types of actually brain issues without immediating any sort of radiation. So it is completely low field. It has a amazing actually target market, and it's solving the same issue that my dad could have had at that point of time, which actually could have actually saved his life. If they had access to something like this sort of device, where it gives you a very quick scan and is able to pick out cancer at a very early stage and at a negligible cost also, that could have actually saved him and a lot of other also cancer actually patients. So that's one thing that I'm working on. And also apart from that, I've also invested in a very early stage cancer detection company. It is a diagnostic with a therapeutic angle to it. So that is also getting FDA cleared by actually March next year in the therapeutic side. That is able to identify almost 15 types of early stage cancer with a single blood test. So this is something that I have a very actually personal journey in, and then I can also elaborate that as we also speak. Thank you.
Thank you for that, and yeah, big congratulations on global stuff that has such a huge impact. What I'm taking away from both of you, by the way, is the personal journey, right? To solve a problem that was close to your heart, that you felt connected to. So thank you for that. Prasanna, a little about you.
Hello everyone, good morning. Thrilled to be here. Prasanna Arikala, Chief Product Officer and Technology Officer at Core.ai. Core.ai sort of, it's a different journey for us. So I lived in US for about 6 years and came back it was a pull. So I want to be close to the family, and also want to be part of something that, we can start, some belief that we can start a global company based out of India. So that was the pull. So I came here, and then back in 20, 2012, I think it's almost 13 years now. So when Raj Koneru, who's my co-founder, when we started off, we actually, first when we started off, it was not even a conversational AI company. It was a completely different product idea. I think within 2-3 months, we quickly realized that there is going to be a need for a platform where enterprises do need help with building conversational AI agents. So we needed to build that platform. So we went ahead, spent like a couple of years building the platform, went to the market, but we were too early. I mean, we would go into these boardroom discussions for customer meetings, and they don't even know how to apply conversational AI. And leave that alone. I mean, looking for a platform that they can use is something that they could not even imagine at that point in time. In fact, because of us being too early, we did have to spend a lot of money, burn cash. We almost ran out of money around 2018, I think. But then, we persisted. We persisted. We always believed that, there is definitely a need for this, platform. So we continue to innovate on it. And our first marquee customer, Citibank, happened. And that turned the tables. That was the validation that was given for us from the market. And then immediately, I think within a year, there was a first Gartner Magic Quadrant for conversational AI came out. And we became the leaders in that space. So, competing with companies like Microsoft, Google, and a few, we became the leaders, and that turned the tables completely. So for us, that's where, you asked in the morning about the whole scale-up situation. That was our scale-up moment. So the Gartner Magic Quadrant put us on the top, and everybody started noticing, oh, this is a company we should be considering. Instead of we reaching out to customers, customers started reaching out to us. Then, it became a kind of a pivotal moment for us. Then, few years down the line, GenAI happened. We thought, we established ourselves as conversational AI leaders. Everything was going well. 2 years in a row, we were the leaders in Gartner Magic Quadrant. All good. Then GenAI happened. Completely, shift. I mean, everybody in that space actually thought that GenAI is going to eat up conversational AI, and we're going to get blown away and all that. We saw that as an opportunity, though, instead of getting bogged down by, oh, it's going to eat up conversational AI. Whatever that we built for that 12 years as a platform, what we said is, okay, we're going to make it an agentic platform. So we started innovating around agentic space, and we created an agent platform. Now, this year, actually, early this year or late last year, Gartner again came up with a new market category for agent platforms. And we again, stood out with our new innovations, with new set of competition, because the vendors who were there in the conversational AI space completely gone wiped out, and a new set of vendors started coming in. And I think that's been our journey. Starting a global company in a deep tech R&D space based out of Hyderabad has been a challenge, obviously because, even from a team mindset point of view, you have to inculcate that, we can build a global deep tech company based out of India. That mindset to be, constantly, we need to feed into the team to make that happen. But I think it's today, as we look back, we are close to about 450 global customers, marquee customers like, Morgan Stanley, who, when they reviewed, Microsoft Copilot, they reviewed Google Agent Space and all that, but then still picked our work platform for their entire 160,000 employees and contractors. And the customer base, like for example, today we have the largest conversational AI agentic deployments on the planet when it comes to voice experiences on our platform. And we operate about close to about 2 billion conversation interactions a year at scale. And that's the kind of achievement that we made so far. Well, I think still this space is, for us, we believe is still at a very early inflection point. There's still a lot of opportunity out there. So we believe, I think we can go win this market.
Thank you. First of all, congratulations on building a global company out of Hyderabad. Yeah, applause for that one.
Thank you.
Another lesson I think that is important to reiterate from your journey is it's not a straight line journey. You have to be able to be persistent, keep focused on the customer problem, and pivot accordingly.
Yeah, I think perseverance and continuous innovation, there is no alternative to that. Right. So you have to stick to it. And of course, only true value to customer is what going to define your journey, right? So if you keep generating value to customer, I think they keep coming to you.
Thank you. Chakradhar.
Am I audible? Yes. Firstly, great to be here and thrilled to be among such founders. It's really great to see, yeah. Am I audible now? Yes. Yeah. Firstly, great to be here and thrilled to be among such founders, and listening to your stories is quite inspiring as well. And a little bit about, Country Delight and myself. I'm a comp science engineer turned finance professional turned milkman, you can say. Started Country Delight almost 14 years back in Delhi. Today we are there in the top 10, 12 cities. We are present in 11 states. We serve almost 5 to 6 million customers, and we deliver fresh milk and all food essentials directly to their doorstep. So the amount of supply chain we cover, fun fact, we cover the circumference of Earth twice every day. So that is the kind of supply chain that we execute on a daily basis. It's been an amazing journey. We were bootstrapped. We had no funding for the first 5, 6 years of our life. And starting such an execution-heavy business, being a computer engineer, was very tricky. A lot of struggles, like many of my colleagues here. First 1, 2 years were very confusing, where we didn't understand what we were doing. Everything was completely new, right from, figuring out where do you get good quality milk to, how do you process it and how do you deliver to customers and how do you build a layer of tech to solve problems. But the whole idea of starting Country Delight to do was something very big and very impactful. And we realized over the first 1, 2 years that the best way to do it is to figure out customer problems and to solve them. So we started talking to our customers after the first 7, 8 months of starting the business, which was more out of frustration that nothing was happening in life, so we started something. But after a few months, figured out that the only way forward is to find out what problems customers have, just obsess about these problems, try to solve them one by one. And over time, we sort of figured out, the right business model to sort of execute this. And the other thing which really sort of worked for us was to never run out of cash. We always knew that we were running on a very thin budget because we didn't have money for the first 5, 6 years. And it was always about surviving first and then solving customer problems. And, couple of things that really helped us in being able to differentiate ourselves was to, think from a tech-first mindset to solve everything through technology as much as possible. We knew that that was an edge that we carried into a business that was very, very traditional, and to just be obsessed with customer first approach, which we have learned the hard way in the business.
Thank you. That's really, really insightful. Congratulations on, again, your journey. You know, one of the questions, given that we have a very young audience, that I'd like to ask you, it's a very common thing I hear of people wanting to build a consumer-facing company, and they're like, I'll do hyper-local for delivering XYZ things, right? What have you learned along the way that you think you could pass on that could make that a little bit deeper? You passed on a bunch of different things, right? But what else do you think that they should absolutely focus on about connecting both vision to ground-up building?
One thing which at least I've learned about running a consumer tech business is in India is that the first thing is you need to have a differentiator. If you are saying something that 4 different people can say, or and it's very easy to execute, so you should have a barrier. Either capital can be a barrier, or your execution capability can be a barrier, or certain customer insight which gives you a 7-8 month head start can be a way to generate quick traction, and then because you have sort of built certain unique niche for yourself, that's an entry point that you have built into customers, and then you can sort of expand to other things. So from a customer point of view, it's very important to have a differentiator, and from a business point of view, there needs to be a barrier. If too many Me Too's come too soon, then it's a problem, and eventually it's a race of survival, which you would rather not be in as a business.
Thank you for that. Similarly, Prasanna, in the AI space, obviously that's a super hot topic right now, and everybody is throwing AI, at least the words AI, at every problem possible. What differentiates you from random companies saying that they're doing AI? As a young founder building something in AI, again in quotes, what have you learned along the way that could help them to start from the ground up and build something that'll actually scale?
I mean, we actually had to pivot at least 2-3 times in our journey. But what we have learned is that, don't look at the problem in front of you as, a quick fix solution that you could just go and offer, and, probably there will be some customers who would probably give you money for that offering. Like, for example, in the early days of conversational AI, everybody used to come out with some bespoke or very pointed kind of solutions. Customers will still go get it, but then it quickly gets fizzled out. What we always felt is, what is the real value for the customer? And we said, okay, instead of just going and giving a single offering around conversational AI, why not build a platform where the customers, enterprises themselves, can build agents on top of it and, scale. So that actually, when we went to market, even when we land at a small offering, let's say for a specific use case. For example, our Citibank journey started with a 100K contract to begin with, a subscription. And it grew into about 14 million ARR for us over years. So the same platform. So that's, you can think of pointed solutions, but then, you can't scale. So always keep looking at what is the model or a product that's going to give you the scale. I think even today with agentic, it's another pivot for us in the last year and a half. But it's the same thing. I mean, everybody coming and saying, okay, we give an offering that's good enough, like a no-code. Just now, OpenAI launched a builder for building some agents. These are all good because it is a market-defining category, a new category that is coming up. So, the challenge here is you also need to educate the customer for them to understand the need, etc. But if you persist that there is a need for a platform for them to go build, deploy, manage, govern agents at scale over a period of time, and you will see some tough challenges now that customers picking small vendors, but eventually they realize that a stronger platform is needed. So that's how we have been able to capture this market and win.
Awesome lessons. Thank you for that. Krishna, moving over to you, a couple of things, right? One is that your brick and mortar business, it's an area that, again, a lot of people think of as a traditional business, but as we were talking about earlier, there's a whole bunch of technology that could be deployed to transform some of that, think differently. What are your viewpoints on that? Like, how would you bring technology into a brick and mortar company to start with? How would you think about it today? With all the experience that you guys have, what would you advise young people who are going to get into that space?
Get into the, basically...
Maybe get into either, not necessarily young,
yeah,
but people who are starting
because actually brick and mortar is built over time, so that's why.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
But again, if you were someone that was looking at generally brick and mortar type businesses,
correct,
how do you bring technology into that? How do you rethink this stuff?
I think that's a very that's a great question, because I think today what we've heard here is a lot of Gen AI and basically a lot of future forward solutions for AI and also basically technology. But it's also very important to address what you just mentioned, what we can do for our brick and mortar businesses which are still doing very well in basic India, and applying technology on top of that. So I'll give you two examples that we do or that we have actually currently. One is our hotel space, which is our actually hospitality space, where we've got 1,200 rooms, all actually 5-star rooms. So there, since we are a brick and actually mortar basic player, we own the assets. So we own the physical end-to-end actually property. So what we can do from a property actually management perspective is to make sure that we apply technology to ensure that the spaces are utilized in the best possible manner within the physical asset itself. What I mean by that is very, very like simple things. Like say, for example, if you go to Singapore or you go to the Far East, you have technology in the basic terms of an iPad, of an individual who is actually going to come and receive you from the outside of the hotel to take you straight up to the room and check you in there. What that does is, in effect, it removes the need to have such a big lobby. You can efficiently utilize those spaces in a much more efficient and effective manner. And across different hotels, that's almost 25 or 30% of the spaces. So you can check people into the room, you can check people out of their room. You can have a much more, second thing, you can have a much more personalized angle where you use technology to track your actually customer. For example, if you're staying at a basically Taj hotel for the first time or the second time, you can get the individual's preferences, what newspaper the individual likes to read in the morning, what sort of food he likes, or simple thing today, what sort of actually allergies you have. And you can actually personalize a menu, you can actually personalize food and beverage actually choices for that individual as well. So I think there are many use cases in the hospitality space. Second thing I will come to is in our EMRI, our 108 basically ambulance care. So there what we're doing, and one of the reasons that we have actually scaled to 20,000 plus ambulances in the last actually 15 years is because we have used technology to make ambulances more and more effective. What I mean by that is essentially we have built our own technology basically platform for individual states. We operate these ambulances in about 13 different states, and in each one of these states, we create something called hotspots. So say, for example, an basically ambulance is being utilized in a given day 3 times of the day to go for first respondent care. But by tracking within the state where the maximum basically accidents are, road accidents, fatalities, or even people who are calling for the ambulance, we place the ambulance in the right manner, where through logistic actually management and through expertise in operation, we increase that efficiency. We almost actually double it. So an ambulance without technology was being utilized 3 times of the day. We're able to utilize it 6 or 7 basic times a day. Plus, we're also able to effectively, because of our experience in the last 10 to 15 years, we're able to use technology to be able to get the right sort of actually medical equipment on board. And we are very happy to announce we have saved over 5 million actually lives. So, yeah. So I think
awesome.
I think these are basically a few ways that we can use also technology as well. So, thanks.
Awesome. Coming to you, Sudhakar. Similar question though. No, actually it's not a similar question. One of the things I want to ask you, what have you learned along the way? You know, you started with Abhibus, you've gone to FreshBus, but what was your thinking? Like, what's your founder mindset today versus what you were when you were younger? What's changed, and how did that inform the way that you're building your business now?
Yeah, I think when I started in 2008, I was like 25. I think I didn't do the basic research. Of like how many companies are there in this space. I just excited that I had a problem that of traveling from Chennai to Hyderabad, and I did a basic research, and then I just started the company. And also after then I started figuring out the funding piece. When I started, I don't know VCP word. Then I started the hard way of learning of like from the people, right? Raising money from the angels, and giving away the large chunk of equity, and got into the clutches of HNIs and all that. So the idea was right, the timing was right for Abhibus, but I think it took in a different direction. But I think with lots of perseverance and we stayed on to that. Lots of BDC burn and all that, but we stayed on, stuck to it, and then finally delivered. But I think that's something really, really the hard learning for me. It took a lot of time to correct what I've done. So this time, I think FreshBus, I think there's enough thought, enough research went in, definitely with lots of experience, and started correcting that, getting a right team in place from day one, and get the right investors on cap table. So these are 2 major learnings what I've done from Abhibus to FreshBus. Yeah.
Awesome. Krishna, just coming back to you for a second, right? The other side that you talked about, your personal journey, your deep tech investment side of things, right?
Correct.
One of the things I want to explore is just, obviously there was a personal connection to these particular things, but how do you approach white space kind of thinking? How do you choose what you're going to go after? And in your case, how did you find that particular founder? Like, what are you looking for in someone that you'd want to work with?
Sorry, what was your actually basically first question again?
So, you are looking at building deep tech companies,
correct. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And you're choosing founders to work with in white spaces.
Correct.
relatively, right?
Correct.
How do you determine it is a white space?
Correct.
What is that strategy?
Correct.
And what do you look for in a founder that you want to work with?
Okay. Thank you so much. I think that's basically a great question. I think in my own case, and also especially for me, what I've done is that I've, number one, figured out what my actually strengths are. So I've taken some time to reflect what my strengths as an individual is, because in any one of our basic companies, you have to work with the right set of actually people, and picking the right person is most important. And in basically my case, I basically wanted to work with somebody who had figured out a very good niche in the medical technology space, because I do believe that basically creating and targeting a basically niche allows you to scale. So in this case, Amit and I were very aligned to what the niche would be, to develop a low field MRI for the first time in the world, and to allow that to scale it in the basically brain space. Second thing, I wanted to work with a basically founder who is strong enough to build a 3 to 5 year actually business plan, but who's also flexible enough to be able to change when the time comes. For example, when we first started to work together, basically 5 years ago, within 3 years we had a... Hello. So for the first 3 years, we had a strong vision on what the company should be, but there were certain variables which had come along the way, where we had to remain flexible enough to adapt to those. So adaptability is key. So although a lot of people say, yes, you have to be strong, you have to be committed, 100% agree with you. But you have to be also flexible when the time is also required. The third thing I want to say is the individual has to, without, in my own actually belief, has to have great personal discipline. So he has to be extremely focused and committed to his work, but he also needs to feel that he's doing something also like greater than himself. There has to be a sort of spiritual angle to it, where you believe, yes, there is always a higher power or a higher basically being there which is always guiding you and actually protecting you. And I think that's very, very important as well too, because sometimes when you face difficult actually problems along the way, you always want to seek the guidance of the basically also the Almighty. Right. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I mean, a couple of takeaways for me. I think, and it's been alluded to across the panel, but there is, in my head at least, there's two pieces to this. One is, as a founder, who do you need to be? What lessons do you need to learn? It's a long journey. How do you keep crafting yourself and learning from that? And then there's the problem you choose and making sure that is solving a large problem, having a viewpoint that is deep because you've done the work, but also being close enough to your market to be flexible and keep adapting accordingly. So yeah, great lessons. I think one of the things that I want to ask you, Prasanna, right? Coming to because you're in a space like AI, I think one of the important things that, again, is kind of being alluded to, but is not focused on yet, is timing. You mentioned it in yours, right? You were too early with your first iteration. How do you make sure that the venture that you're building fits into the time that you're in right now, the story of the environment, the economy, India's growth story maybe, AI maybe? Just how do you as a leader look at that big picture and fit yourself into that? Is that really important?
It is, of course, important. I think we have to, I mean, I echo what my fellow panel member was saying about you have to play to your strengths, right? So there is always going to be opportunity out there. You have a ton of ideas, but what you are good at. So for us, our team, what we always were good at is with our background working with large enterprises and all, we always saw that, we are best at solving the most complex problems. So we just focused on not trying to do something in the short term, but keep looking at what is the most complex problem that the market is looking to solve for, and we keep working on it. Now, but then you have to keep adapting to the environment, to the to changing market needs and changing technology space anyway. So we had the same journey even with conversational AI and to agentic space. It's the same journey. We looked at it and said, okay, we have the strengths of solving the most complex problem in terms of building a platform. Then when the agentic AI space came, we said the same thing. We said, okay, let's go build something that enterprise would need 2 years, 3 years down the line. They may not see it today, but we know this is a problem that's going to be there, and we have that conviction, and then go solve it. So adapting to that is very, very critical. We can't just sit out there and say, okay, whatever we built 12 years, it's going to stay there, and we're going to win with that. I mean, we may get tired of building for long, trying to sell it, build a business. But then if something changes, then you have to go quickly adapt and adapt very fast.
So another thing that is important is that adaptability and flexibility to pivot, but there's also resilience and lasting long enough to make it. I think that's another thing that's really important. Some of the questions that I have are around scale. Maybe we could move to you, Chakra, there. Just generally, right? You've been at it for a while. You were a scrappy startup. Now you're starting to become a large business. How do you transition between those? What are the things that founders should think about building something that can scale as well once you're past that scrappiness? And
it's more about thinking about the next 1 year, not thinking too long term, ironically, because at every point you are just thinking of the next one step. So if you zoom out, the basic things are you are riding a long-term trend or a medium-term trend. That's what you probably have to get right, and that's what you'll probably have to keep pivoting on to stay relevant, to grow your business fast. But in the short run, when going from A to B, two things which at least helped me the most was thinking very short-term, thinking what to do in the next 6 months or 1 year, how to get the maximum out of this next 6 months or 1 year. Meeting a lot of people with relevant stuff. If you're hiring, what are the similar companies where you can meet folk to hire from? If there are people doing similar businesses, you can meet them. If you meet investors, you will get to learn more. So the more you meet people, because in India, fortunately or unfortunately, there is not too much on the internet. While it feels like there is a lot on the internet, there is not too much on the internet.
No, there's a lot, just not great quality.
Correct. So you get a lot more by meeting people. Yeah. Many of you, if you want to start your ventures, you should meet as many entrepreneurs of all ages, of all groups, across different categories. Just meeting will teach you so many things and help you avoid many mistakes. That said, you have to have your own opinion. You have to decide for yourself. Ultimately, you're the only one responsible for whatever you're doing. So it's very important to follow first principles. You'll go wrong. It's a lifelong journey of experimentation. Most of the time, you'll get it wrong. But if your mistakes are small, then maybe it'll work out.
So I'm going to ask an open question to all four of you, right? And whoever wants to take it, I'd love to hear from you. But one of the key things, again, is how do you build a core team that you can build alongside, and I guess that is holistic and helps you to scale, right? How do you build a core team that helps you to build your company and to scale? How do you hire? Importance of maybe a co-founder or key leadership, even networks, right?
For us, building a core team involved, you know, being honest with each other as a team. Whenever we met people, as you're scaling, certain skill sets scale out. And sometimes some people would have helped you, through the most difficult part of your journey. And it feels a little unfair that, there is someone else, you know, who will come and do a part of what they are doing. But as long as you're honest with each other as a team and you're honest with the organization and what is good for the business and being fair with each other, mostly people understand. That's point number one, which has really helped us the most. And second thing is having mutual respect for each other in a team. That again, we actively discourage a culture where, someone is a boss, someone is, working under you. That kind of environment really gets very toxic and there is no free flow of ideas, and allowing ideas to flow freely and giving opportunity for people to grow and being honest with each other. And fortunately, at least I would be proud to say that, if I look at our team, we would have at least 70, 80 people who are more than 10 years old in the organization. We would have at least 500 people who are almost 5 years old in the organization. People rarely quit
That's amazing.
our company because of the freedom that we give and the respect that we have for each other and the intellectual honesty that we share.
Yeah, I think just to add, I think I think very similar views. I completely agree with Chakra there in terms of the trust and also the transparency is very, 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 very important when you are trying to start the journey. Very similarly, I think at Abibas we have built teams and initial people who have joined, they stayed 15 plus years. They're even continuing even after me. So I made them, couple of them. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't have a co-founder, but I've hired the technology head, operations head, or marketing head, and made them as a co-founders during the journey, and then now they are running the show. I think that really that mutual respect and transparency is very, very, very important. As a leader, you have to set the tone, which really translates the next layer, and even that translates to even the next layer. So that's how it trickles down. Trust is one thing, and then also empower them in terms of making those decisions than being intervening, like stepping into every decision. Some of these decisions probably you might give a bit of the freedom and the culturally it'll set the tone for the company. So these are the couple of things what I've learned in my way.
I would have loved to have questions and answers session, but it looks like we're almost out of time. Maybe we could just, starting from left to right, just tell the audience anything that you think you want to add to this conversation about how to build companies and how to build companies that scale.
Maybe I'll just tell one thing that, India is in the right place at the right time, and to be an entrepreneur in India is the best thing you can do. As a country, we have to move forward by taking risks, by taking, by innovating, and this you will be like doing great service to yourself and the country if you become an entrepreneur. And I would really encourage as many people to move towards entrepreneurship as possible. We have a great ecosystem that's helping everyone. So please try it out.
And pick large problems, don't pick small problems.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Think big. I mean, we have such an enormous pool of talent in India, and it's a shame that a very few deep tech companies have come out of India. I think we have to think big. I mean, if deep tech companies can be built in Silicon Valley, why not in Hyderabad, right? So we have to believe in that, and we have fantastic talent pool. I think the opportunity is here. the technology is pretty much democratized even today with AI and all that. So everybody can get access to the technology and learn and do great things that once we thought maybe not possible, but that access is there now. So I think think big.
Thank you. Krishna?
Thank you. So yes, I would say very quickly, because we're actually now basically out of time, maybe 4 things. Think big and execute small on a small day-by-day way. Number 2, find your niche, stick to your niche, stay strong enough to be also focused on your on your niche, but be flexible enough to adapt. So that's very important for me. Third thing, have the personal discipline to understand your strengths and also understand your also weaknesses and how do you work on that on a day-by-day actually basis, and surround yourself with people who compensate for those weaknesses. So if you're able to do these 3 or 4 things, I think you will be actually successful. So thank you.
Great. Last but not least, and the most difficult position after everybody else has had their say.
Yeah, I think everybody covered. I think India is a land of opportunities. I think so. We are in I think the current generation, I think, is at a great time. I think India has really booming well. I think we shouldn't look at like cut copy models of like what US is doing or what the other European countries are doing, what China is doing. I think we have to see what exactly fits for India. So like the bus, what I'm talking like is definitely not there. The OTA business is not there anywhere in the world, but this is suitable for India. So if whatever is required, it's just common problems, right? Getting a cab was a common problem. That's how the Ola was born. Getting a movie ticket, that's how the Book My Show was born. And like, getting a flight ticket was a difficult. That's how the Make My Trip and Ixigo was born. And food deliveries like Swiggy, and it has come out from a common problem, which is a problem for across India. I think I think we should think what is really suitable for India, and definitely India has a huge opportunity, and scale will automatically come. Choose that sector wisely. So that's how.